we looked at this graph, which is the graph of y equals x squared in a previous video, and let me just write y equals x squared as our graph here. Now we also looked at another graph, y equals negative x squared, which is a modification of y equals x squared. It was y equals negative x squared, which reflects the graph over the x-axis. We also looked at y equals x squared plus 1, which moves the graph upwards 1 unit, as well as y equals x squared minus 1, which moves the graph down 1 unit. We also looked at y equals x plus 1 squared and y equals x minus 1 squared. You should look at the previous videos, the videos before this one, in order to see the graphs of each of these functions if you haven't done so yet. Now, what we want to do is make additional modifications to this graph. Suppose we have y equals, say, x plus 1 squared. But what we do is multiply this by 2. So it's 2 times x plus 1 squared. Let us first, before we do that, we look at 2 graphs. We want to look at 2 additional graphs in total. Let us look back at y equals x plus 1 squared before we look at y equals x plus 1 2x plus 1 squared. So y equals x plus 1 squared again. So we have open bracket x plus 1 close bracket raised to the power of 2. That's what we have. Let us make this thicker than it is, and the color, let's make the color red. Also want to show the label. Good. So this is y equals x plus 1 squared. In fact, let me write y equals x plus 1 squared in red, since that's the color that we have. So this is y equals x plus 1 squared. Alright? Should put the square out here. In fact, let me write it here. Y equals x plus 1 squared. This is what we have. Now, 2 times x plus 1 squared. What does that look like? Let's see. We have 2 open bracket x plus 1 close bracket raised to the power of 2. So that's 2 times x plus 1 squared. And notice that the lines are steeper. The curve, I should say, is steeper. Let's make it blue and make it thicker. X plus 1 squared. Interesting. Suppose instead of having x plus 1 squared, then what we have is y. In fact, let me write it in blue. I want it in blue. Y equals x equals 2x squared. Let's change it to 2x squared, because I notice it modifies x plus 1 squared by making it steeper. 2x squared should modify x squared by making it steeper. So let's see what happens here? Let's adjust this to x squared equal. Okay, we see this. All right. So what this really does, multiplying by 2 is make the graph even steeper. Suppose we multiplied this graph by 3x squared. You see, it's even steeper than before. 4x squared, steeper. 5x squared makes it even more steep, right? Now suppose we say 0.5x squared then. 0.5x squared makes it flatter. 0.1x squared, even more flat. All right, so the coefficient of x squared makes the graph steeper or flatter depending on the value of it. All right, now these are some of the ways of modifying the graph. We can multiply x squared by a number to make it steeper or flatter. We can add a number to x squared to move the graph up or down. We can add a number to x and then square it to move the graph left or right. If the number that we add to x is positive, it moves the graph to the left, as in this case. If it's negative, instead of saying plus 1, we say negative 1, minus 1, it moves the graph to the right. Alright? Let's move it back to the left by saying plus 1. And there we have it. Alright, we continue talking about this in another video.